We want to thank all those who responded to the invitation to be here with us for our panel. One technical remark, as the interest for this panel discussion seems higher than expected, I want to remind all the panelists about the time limit. You will each have 5 minutes for your presentation. Otherwise, we will not be able to have an interactive vote and no time for the final discussion, which would be a pity. I'd like to introduce the panelists here. So we begin with Mr. Sergei Ivanov, a person who needs no introduction, Deputy Head of the Government of the Russian Federation. Mr. Petr Aven, President of Alpha Bank, again, a very popular person, and I'm sure you're all familiar with this, with Mr. Aven. Mr. Sergei Guriev, Rector of New Economic School. Andres Oslund, Senior Fellow, Peterson Institute for International Economics. Andrew Kutchins, Director, Russia and Eurasia Program from the Center for Strategic and International Studies in the United States. Xian Langsing, Professor, International History and Politics at the Graduate Institute of International Studies. Timothy Flynn, President, KPMG International. Mr. Flynn, are you here? Professor Klaus Mangold, our President of the Eastern Committee of German Industry. Mr. Robert Hormutz, Undersecretary of State for Economic, Energy and Agricultural Affairs. And as this platform doesn't have enough places for everyone, we have also Mr. Trenin from the Moscow Carnegie Center and Mr. Artyom Volinets, first Deputy Director General of N+. Gentlemen, you will have microphones when it's your time to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very glad that this panel develops the theme that was first raised at the opening session and was voiced by President Medvedev. The balance of economic forces and of the whole economic system, the one that has been with us for many decades, is now shifting from the west to the east. And according to many forecasts, by the middle of this century, there'll be at least 4 major centers of economic activity. Apart from the United States and Europe, it'll be also China and India. And we really need to understand where Russia fits in this picture. Will Russia be west-facing or east-facing, or will it have a unique place unique to itself? This is a question that Russia has been asking itself for hundreds of years, but it has never been quite so acute and never quite so economically bound. Russia's orientation, Russia's positioning of itself today, perhaps where Russia will need something like GLONASS. What do you say, Mr. Ivanov? Anyway, the way Russia positions itself in the world will determine where it fits in the global economy, and what role it plays, that of a commodities supplier or something different. So my first question goes to Mr. Sergei Ivanov. We'll be talking about to Mr. Guriev. We'll be talking about the future. By future, I mean something like the year 2020. It's hard to look beyond that. So what do you think is the place of Russia in the near future? Thank you. I'll be talking about the economy more than things like military power. I'd like to advertise our book that was reviewed by Andres Oslund and Andrew Kutchins. This book has a chapter on the Russian economy and where it is in the world today. I will not take your time retelling it, but in response to your question, Alexei, when we talk about the East and the West, we can look at the data that PricewaterhouseCoopers has provided for this forum as its knowledge partner about the share of the West and the East in the world. And this information is mind-boggling. The share of the West, which comprises Europe and America, is dwindling. The share of the East is growing, and Russia's share goes a little bit up and a little bit down, but it's principally stable. On the other hand, I would say that Russia could profit from the experience of an Eastern country gone sort of Western. I'm talking about South Korea, a country that in many ways has traveled the same road that Russia is embarking upon today. If we look at the per capita GDP, Russia will soon be on the level of South Korea 11 years ago. But 11 years ago, Russia was behind South Korea by another 11 years. So can Russia hope that in 2020 Russia will be where South Korea is today? That's a question. And in order to provide an answer to that, we have to look at the different components of success. Long-term economic growth requires, above all, institutions of contract implementation and of property protection and an independent judiciary system. Unfortunately, Russia doesn't look very much like South Korea in those respects, not even a South Korea of 11 years ago. Per capita GDP in Russia is fairly high, but the quality of its legal and political institutions is way behind. If we look at South Korea 11 years ago and the ratings of institutions of property and contractual protection, South Korea was before 75% of the world's countries on that count. Russia falls behind 75% of the world's countries and is ahead of just 25%. That's a great difference. And it's not just figures, it's something that is based in fact, and it can't be ignored. Why is it important? If we are to expect modernization and economic growth, it can only become real if Russia depends on knowledge-based sectors of the economy, not commodity-based ones. And it must also be achieved through small and medium-sized businesses. These companies are particularly dependent on the quality of the institutions and legislative and law enforcement structures. It's not the first time that Russia starts discussing these issues. For 10 years now, at least, Russia has been implementing the 2020 strategy. This program says a lot of law enforcement and property protection institutions. Unfortunately, there are fewer facts to show than words nicely spoken. Will we be able to catch up before 2020 what we have not been able to implement in the first decade of this century? If we can improve the quality of our legislation and conquer corruption and subdue our bureaucracy, then there is no reason why Russia couldn't be as prosperous as South Korea is today, an OECD country that has reduced its gap between itself and developed countries of the world.